Welcome back. In this video, we're going to go over sign up restrictions, the user block list. In our previous video, we went over the user allow list, which is like a members only type restriction where external services are, restricted to only people that have been allowed to sign up to those services. Whereas in this video, we're going to take the opposite of that. If there is an allow list, then perhaps there is a block list. And this is when you have a list of people that you do not want to have access to your application. All right, I'm currently in the subscription management tab of the Inhouz Cloud console. We're going to focus on our support auth subscription service. This is an external service deployed to the production environment. If we jump in real quick, in order to configure a block list, all we need to do is go to the configurations and go to the restrictions. So the block list is one of the sign up restrictions. So to create a user block list, all we need to do here is just select the block list, user block list restriction, add, and now we have the option to just add as many emails as possible. Now there are two scopes for this restriction. There's the initial sign up scope, and then there's all signups. So initial sign up just means that the initial account creator will be vetted based on if they are in this block list. But when that person creates their account, if it's a team plan, they have the ability to add other users without having them be checked to see if they are blocked or not. Whereas if you decided to go with the all signups, it means that every single user that is added to the service plan will be vetted to see if they are indeed blocked or not. All right, so you can pick whichever one suits your workflow. So we can go ahead and just add emails. So let's just say a@inhouse.io, add that, and then b@inhouse.io. All right, so as you can see now we have two users in our block list. Now these users can no longer subscribe to this application from this subscription service. Obviously we have to save and launch. I think we kind of get that drill by now. But the most important thing here is that we've added these users to the block list. They are no longer able to sign up to your application through your subscription service. Now the question is now, okay, I have an application that has millions of users, right? And maybe we have a workflow, maybe we have some kind of policy or something, and we do not want to have to go in one by one to add users to a block list, right? If we had an onboarding process that basically puts people in a block list, we did not have to then, manually go in here and basically add one by one. It could be a nightmare scenario. So there is an automation for this. So for this, we're going to jump into the function builder, the functions tab. I have a function that I used in the previous video that went over the user allow list. So this function here, is a function to add to the user allow list. So just like we can add to the user allow list, let me reorganize this real quick. Just like you can add to the user allow list, you can pretty much add to the subscription service user block list. And you can also remove right from the subscription service user block list using an automation as well. So it's very, very similar to the add to allow list. It's practically the same fields. We have the subscription service ID. So if you want to be very, very specific and pick out the service that you want to this to work for, you can. Or if you wanted to just go with the asset rather. So if you went with the assets, this is the app or API that this service is connected to. To get the asset ID, all you will need to do is, if it's an app, asset ID is right here in the app builder tab. If it's an API, the same thing, right? The asset ID is right there. You can basically just copy it, put in your logic, whatever. Okay. So the whole idea here is that, if you had an application that had, 30, 40 subscription services, and you wanted to block a user across the board, right? You do not want them to be able to log into, let's say you had a service for each country, one service for the, Indian market, one service for the US market, one service for the Canadian market, Mexican market, Brazilian market, so on and so forth. But you wanted to block a user across the board, then you wouldn't go with the subscription service ID. You would just go with the asset ID. And then whichever service, right, that the user is trying to um, log in from or sign up from, it wouldn't matter because they cannot sign up for this asset ID, for the assets behind the asset ID. And here you provide your emails, and if this was like an API that was maybe public or whatever, you would provide an API key here. And this could be a system user API key, right? So, you can watch the videos on functions, you can watch the videos on APIs, automations to just know how all these things work. But that's pretty much the way to automate this process. You can basically use this in an API as you've seen here. You can watch the video for user allow lists, and we kind of go into more detail on how this function was configured. The same thing applies over here. All you need to do is just map it, attach it to an API, and or a scheduled task, and you can automate the process of adding users to block lists or removing them from the block list. All right. So just a quick roundup. In this video, we've gone over the restriction to add users to a block list. We know that we can simply do that by going into the subscription service restrictions or configurations tab. Navigate to the restrictions tab and add users manually. We know the scopes for this restriction. It's an initial sign up scope where this is limited to just the initial users that are signed up at the time of sign up, or it could be extended to all signups. This means when users are initially signing up and when they are adding users to their accounts. This is when they are migrating or transferring license. It doesn't matter. Every single transaction is going to go through this restriction check. And now we also, have gone through the work process of seeing how it can be automated by using a function, right? And in a previous video, we showed how this function can then be consumed by an API. And I think we just picked one of our random APIs over here, one of the endpoints, whichever one it was, can't really remember. And we basically just saw how it can be connected. All right, that's it for this video. See you in the next one.